Hello, I'm Janna, and welcome back to the Crafty Corner. This week over at the Funky Junky Inspiration Avenue, we're going to be creating to the theme of fall colors. So this means that we're going to be digging into the new Tim Holtz Distress seasonal colors for Halloween. There are some fantastic fall colors in here, so we're going to be creating a card with them. If you'd like to see the rest of the supplies that I'm going to be using, go ahead and pause here. All right, let's head over to the Crafty Corner. Since today is all about fall colors, I'm going to be pulling in a whole bunch of Distress Mica spray stains. So for our project today, we're going to be making a fall themed card, and we're going to be featuring many Distress Mica spray stains, this year's colors and colors from previous years. We've got Mulled Cider, Tart Cranberry, Jack-o'-lantern, Unraveled, Harvest Moon, Phantom Mist, and Fallen Acorn. So we're going to start right away with our background. And of course, the background is going to be all fall colors. So we're just going to take the Distress sprayer, going to give this a good spritz, and we're going to start playing with some colors. So let's go ahead and shake some of these up. So I'm going to be starting with some of the Harvest Moon color. It's nice and vibrant. It's a good foundation. Then we're going to go with something a little bit more subtle. We've got some Unraveled. Okay. And now let's add a punch of color with a bit of Jack-o'-lantern. There and there. Not going to overdo it. Now a dash of Tart Cranberry. Ooh, that's going to be really nice. And let's go in with some Mulled Cider. There, nice and bright. I like that. Okay, I think I want just a little bit more Unraveled. Perfect. And just a teeny bit more of the Harvest Moon. I don't want to lose that vibrancy. Okay, so I'm going to quickly dry this off and we'll be right back with the result. And here is our fall background. We've got all of those lovely fall colors in there, and we've got a bit of sparkle. That is going to be a great background. So we're just going to set this aside for the moment. And next we're going to be building some layers. And for that, I'm bringing in an old die cut. This is from Birch Trees. I love this one. I have never been able to find this particular die, but I was lucky enough to obtain a few of the actual cuts offline. So we're going to go ahead and alter this. We're just going to spritz that, and we're going to color that with some of the Distress spray stain. And for colors, we're going to be using Fallen Acorn and a dash of Unraveled. So quickly giving these a shake, and we'll quickly spritz these. Ooh, that covered very nicely. And now a dash of Unraveled. Kind of trying to go for a bit of a golden tree background. We'll see how it turns out. The colors are pretty good. Paper is definitely not the best. This seems to be index cardstock. Not my favorite to work with, but it's what I could get my hands on for this particular die cut. Okay, so we'll be back in a moment after I dry this off, and then we will start layering up the card. Okay, so let's go ahead and stick our two layers together. To do that, we're just going to be pulling in some Collage Medium, and we're just going to be scribbling a little bit down along the spaces between the trees. So just running a thin glue line around the edge, and then we'll do a little bit towards the middle. Definitely with this sort of die, I normally would want to use double-sided sticky adhesive, but since this was already pre-die cut, not really an option today, so we're going to use the Collage Medium. Okay, so we've got that, and we're just going to stick that down onto this, and this will give us our first two layers. Okay, just lining that up, making sure everything looks good. All right, not bad. I'm just going to lightly press down, make sure that everything is adhesing properly. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do will be to create a landing zone for our main focal point. And to do that, we'll be pulling in some of the new Tim Holtz Distress Pearlescent crayons. So we have got unraveled, specimen, and mold cider. So for this, I'm going to be using this mini pumpkin stencil. This is THMS 062, and I'm also going to be pulling in some media grip. This is going to help ensure that the stencil doesn't wander off. You definitely could tape this, but I prefer the media grip. So, got that. That should stick down quite nicely. And then the stencil over the top. Alright, right there should be good. So, all I'm going to do is take the Distress crayon and we're just going to rub that through the stencil. And I'm going to be pushing the crayon in, going the same direction as the stencil before rubbing that in with my finger. And I'm just going to alternate on the pumpkins so that we can get a nice little pattern going. So that first color I'm using is mold cider. Just smushing a bit in between the stencil pieces and then rubbing it out with a finger. Okay, nice and easy. Normally I wouldn't use stencils and distress crayons, but I found that the smushing and rubbing with the finger gets the color in all the little places that need color. And I could not resist making some of these little pumpkins while using the pearlescent crayon. That little bit of added shine from the mica is really cool, and I think it gives this a really neat look. Okay, and over here. Not bad. Okay, so next I'm going to be going in with the color Unraveled. Okay, there we go. And all I'm going to do is wipe off that one finger that was using the mold cider. And we'll just go ahead, take the next one, and same thing, smushing it in and rubbing it out. The last little bit on these pumpkins, I'm going to be going in with the color Specimen, and we're just going to need a teeny tiny bit to highlight that pumpkin stem. Okay, just 3 more pumpkins, and this part will be almost done. I love the contrast of the colors here. We've got that very rich mold cider, and then we have the subtlety of Unraveled. Okay, now let's go ahead in with Specimen. Just a teeny tiny bit for that stem. Yep. Just a little like that, and smush. Okay. And this doesn't take long, which is pretty nice. So let's go ahead, smush that. Oh, it's working out really well. Okay, almost done. Just have that one little stem here, and we're good. All right, let's take the stencil off and see how we did. Oh yeah, definitely liking this. So the last thing that I want to do before we alter the background will be to just give this a very quick blast with the heat tool. And now I'm going to be going in with some of the Distress Mica Spray Stain Phantom Mist. Gotta give it a good shake. And of course we'll need to give our background a little spritz. And adding the Phantom Mist. Ooh, that is going to look good. So now we're just going to dry this off with the Ranger heat tool, and we'll be right back. And there we go. Here is our finished piece. We have this nice little tag that we can now add to our background. So I'm just going to be adding this right here. I'm going to add that with a couple of foam squares. So I'm just pulling out the foam squares. We'll grab a few and add that to the card. So just wanted to give a little bit of dimensional lift, and then we can start looking at some embellishments and the main focal point. Okay, good. Got our squares. Just take the backings off these. And we'll add that right here. Okay, pretty good. I'm kind of thinking I want to add a ribbon to this. You know what? Why not? I have a green one around here. That would make a lovely addition. There we go. Was it that one? Or do I have another? Alright, let's go ahead and add a ribbon to that. I've got this ribbon and it's already been colored with some specimen mica spray stain. So just move this up for a moment and tuck that through. There, that adds a nice touch to the tag. Alright, good. So now we can turn to our focal point and sentiment. So I have got for a sentiment, what a wonderful thought that some of the best days are yet to come. That's going to be altered, and then we also have this fun paper doll. I think that'll fit nicely with our fall theme. Kind of thinking something like this. And we've also got some mushrooms. What says fall like mushrooms? So we'll also add those. And I was thinking, what if we gave her a little puppy dog? Can go like that. So for the paper doll, we're going to be altering her and the dog with some of the Distress glazes. I'm going to be using some chipped sapphire on her dress and a little bit of vintage photo on the dog. Let's go ahead and start with the dog. I'm going to be pulling in one of the Distress embossing pens, and we're just going to add a little bit to a couple of spots on the dog. Let's go ahead and zoom in just a little bit so we can see what we're doing. So I'm just gonna kind of apply a little bit here and there. That should be good. Okay, so the only thing I need now is a little bit of scrap paper, and we can start with the embossing. Okay, we'll take this, move that onto here, and put down some of the embossing powder. Oh, I want a little bit more around here. That should be okay. So we'll just go ahead and sprinkle that. And tap that off. Okay. Not bad. So I'm just going to set that aside for the moment, and we're going to add some color to the little girl, and then we will heat emboss. Alright, just dumping that powder back in, close the lid, and pulling in the next paper doll. Okay, good. So I'm just going to add some of the ink. We're just trying to get the dress. Try to be careful around the hands. If I get some there, it's not a big deal. I can easily wipe that off before I emboss, but I'm still going to try to be careful. Okay, and around the basket, carefully around the flowers. All right, I think we got that covered. And now a little bit of chipped sapphire. Okay, I think we did pretty good. Looks like there's just a little bit around her hand. I've got a brush and we can very carefully brush that off. Okay. There. I think that's pretty good. Clearing a little bit by the basket handle. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and emboss these. We will be right back. Okay, we've got our two pieces embossed. That is pretty good. So let's go ahead and add them to the card. And again, we'll just go in with a little bit of foam square to add some dimension. Okay, just taking that, sticking these down. All right, so the next thing to do once we have these in place will be to give a little bit of alteration to our sentiment. And then I think I want to build the border of the card next. All right, I want the dog here. And I'll put the girl over here. Yeah, I think that will work pretty well. Let's see here. This is going to be there. That's going to be over here. Tuck that behind. Yeah, like that. Ooh, I like that even more. And then we'll put the tall one over here. Okay, good. So for the sentiment, I am going to use a little bit of Distress Walnut Stain crayon, and we're just going to rub some crayon around the edges. So pretty simple, just taking this, rubbing it along the edge, and then smushing it, and try to make sure that some of that smushed bit ends up on the front. Okay, and around, and a little bit over here. Not bad. So a little bit of Collage Medium, and that's going to stick down nicely. But before I do that, I do want to do the border next. So let's go ahead, get some ATG tape, and we're just going to run a bit of adhesive along the side before we add our washi tape. I've got some of the decorative tape. This is from Idea-ology. I'm just going to add that to the edge. Okay. Good. Just tuck that under. I think I might move these off for a moment while I do that border. Good. Okay, so I'm just going to continue that border all the way around the card. There. There. Tuck the edges behind. Okay, good. And two more sides. So, more tape. Just like that. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why, but I really like adding frames to my works lately. It just seems to give everything more of an anchor. Okay, and one more line right there. Good. Okay. A bit more tape. All right, last line. Good. And we'll just stick our paper dolls back. get the dog and the girl. There we go. Just want their feet and paws just a teeny tiny bit over the line. Good. And now I'm just going to glue in the mushroom. We've got 2 sets, so I want to tuck that behind, this in front. Good. Definitely like that. There, just hold that for a second, make sure that's going to stay. And then this one. Just a little bit of Collage Medium. Okay. And we'll put this over here. Now, the last thing that I want to do is to add some leaves to this little scene that we've got going. I'm really loving this woodsy scene. So, I've die cut some small oak and maple leaves that I want to add. All right, we'll just stick the sentiment on there. I'm gonna hold that for a moment. So I've used the die set fall foliage. This is an old one, but there's so many good leaves in here that I've definitely wanted to use it again this season. So I'm just gonna pull in some of the die cuts that I have cut out of scraps recently, and we're going to dig and find some small ones. As you can tell, I've definitely been playing with the new artsy leaves. Absolutely love those. But right now I want some nice small leaves. Okay, there we go. I'll just put a few off to the side and we will add them to our scene. Let's see. I really do like the oak leaves. Those are fun. And if I can find another maple leaf or two, that would be great. Oh, there's a maple leaf. Good. And one more would be perfect. Let's see what we got. Huh. Oh, I guess that will be good. I'll take one of those. That'll work. Okay, and we'll just pile the rest of the leaves back in the box. So, with a little bit of Collage Medium, we're just going to tuck these leaves in here and there. Okay. Oh, some of these have a bit of adhesive. How convenient. I don't always remember what I've stuck adhesive to, but whenever I've got double-side adhesive, that is always a good thing. It saves me a bit of messy gluing. Okay. Oh, looks like I might be in luck. Most of these appear to be already pre-adhesed. Yay. That is definitely a good thing. A few of these are not, that's okay. There, put that maple leaf down there. And let's see. Oak leaf over here. That's good. And I think I want another maple leaf over here. Good. And I've got one more leaf to hide. All right, yeah, that'll be good. I'm just gonna tuck that right behind the dog. Perfect. There we go. We have got a fall theme card. Oh, but wait. I wanted to add a little bit of moss. That will be perfect. I just wanted to add that little bit more texture. Okay. Just gonna kind of tuck that in right there. And a little bit behind the leaf. Let's see if I take that. Oh, that's pretty good. And then just stick the leaf right on top. There, I like that. That looks very neat. And one last little bit. Just put a little bit of glue there, and we'll tuck that right back here. There we go. Just a little bit more visual interest. Okay, I would call this card done. Here is our completed fall colors card. That was so much fun. We've been able to pull in a few of the older die sets and combine it with some of the brand new Ranger Tim Holtz Distress products. I absolutely love mixing the old with the new, and it just makes me so happy to see how all of the old and new products can play together so nicely to create a beautiful scene. We've got the Distress Crayon Pumpkins in the background with a splash of Distress Mica Spray Stain, Phantom Mist, and then the very background of the card is featuring all of the fall-themed Distress Mica Spray Stain colors, such as Mold Cider, Unraveled, Jack-o'-lantern, Tart Cranberry, and Harvest Moon. Thank you so much for joining me here today at the Crafty Corner for some fall inspiration fun. I hope that you have a chance to check out my teammates' creations over at the Funky Junkie Inspiration Avenue blog. And until next time, happy crafting!